am building my dreams, and so it shall be. If you want, you can place your hands on your heart too. With God in my heart, I'm building my dreams, and so it shall be. With God in my heart, I'm building my dreams, and so it shall be. With God in my heart, I'm building my dreams, and so it shall be. I'm building my field of dreams, making my life the way I deserve it, building my field of dreams, and so it shall be, as step by step we go. Thank you. Thank you.
We have the honor today of having Reverend Pam Reynolds inspire us. I have got to read this a little ahead of time, and you're going to be inspired. Thank you very much.
Or at least let's go for entertained. There were mornings that I thought that's about all I accomplished. Let me entertain you. A young man dreamed of playing professional football. He was a star player in high school, and he won awards. Now, he came from a small town. Everyone knew him. He was the local hero. But most of the coaches thought he was too small to play in college. All the major universities turned him down as a football player. So he went to junior college and took a job delivering pizza. And because he was so discouraged, after all, the coaches said he was too small. So he quit football. One night when he was delivering a pizza, a 10-year-old boy answered the door and recognized him. He was starstruck. He couldn't believe his hero was delivering a pizza. And he asked him, "What are you doing delivering pizza?" After that night, he went back to the gym and started training harder than he ever had before. He became bigger, he became stronger. That fall, he tried out at a major university that had accepted him as a student. He'd always wanted to play there. He made the team, and he kept on working until he became their star player. After college, he was drafted in the first round for a major NFL team. And he said, it never would have happened if that little boy hadn't asked me why I was delivering pizzas. Have any dreams like that? Dreams that you didn't get to fulfill? Yeah, well, the thing is, it's really not too late. You might say, oh yeah, it is, but no, it isn't. Or it's not too late to fulfill dreams. Maybe just not that one. It's about our faith and our strength, two of our spiritual powers, two of the 12. Faith, Fillmore believed, was represented by Peter, and strength by his brother Andrew. And so that's the reason those two powers go together, work together. Now, faith isn't just about, oh, I trust at some kind of human level. Faith is that knowing that you are part of the divine, that you cannot be separated from the divine. You exist and have your being in divine mind. And so everything that divine mind is and has is yours and is part of who you are. You are that expression of that divine. So our faith is really about knowing who we are. Not wishing and hoping for who we are, but knowing who we are. For me, strength is not about keep on keeping on, as we sometimes say, but strength is about my ability to stay in faith, to hold on to that knowing and acting and living like I know who I am. So when I know who I am, I have the courage to step out and be who I am and follow that dream, or have the courage and the strength to allow a new dream to emerge. Now, our souls know that they're here to do. And our souls are urging us to live full on, full out. There isn't anything in our God self that says, I really wanted to come here and play small. I have to give myself a slap upside the head sometimes to remember that. Do you remember Jennifer Hudson? Yeah. That wasn't what she looked like when she was on American Idol. She was one of the finalists on the 3rd season in 2004. But you remember, she didn't win. She came in 7th. She could have called it quits. Of course, I happen to think that anybody who could make it to American Idol won. Since then, and I know I don't have the whole list, she won an Academy Award, a Golden Globe Award, a BAFTA Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role in Dreamgirls. She's recorded numerous studio albums with sales exceeding millions of copies worldwide. I want to be a singer. I want to be an actress. She didn't let it stop. I'm so excited. I was at the theater the other day, movie theater, and they were showing trailers of coming attractions, including Cats. And this lovely lady is in Cats. She's playing Grisabella, and she gets to sing the iconic Cats song, Memories. Way to go. I don't imagine that the night that she came in 7th, she could have dreamed that that would happen. She didn't settle. She didn't walk away from that and say, well, oh well, it was good enough that I was on American Idol. I can quit now. Vera Wang. Did you know she started out as a figure skater? Pairs. She competed in the 1968 U.S. Figure Skating Championship in pairs. And when she and her partner failed to make the U.S. Olympic team, she quit skating. She could have just given up, but instead, she became a fashion designer. So you may know her as a designer of wedding dresses for people like Chelsea Clinton, Ivanka Trump, and Khloe and Kim Kardashian. You may know her as a clothing designer with her affordable lines selling at Kohl's. But she went on to a new dream. She didn't give up, and she didn't settle. Within us, there is a part of us that wants us to just settle. Oh, it's okay, you came this far. It's all right, pat yourself on the back for your effort. But you didn't make it. Well, the economy's bad. I'm too old, I'm not the right gender, I'm not the right color, I'm not the right, whatever. We all have our list of why we can't go on and do it. Martha Smock, UD minister, said, each of us has the potentiality of genius. The degree to which we express it depends on our perseverance. I call that our spiritual strength. Am I really here for something in particular? Am I really here to be all I'm supposed to be? Or do I give up now, throw up my hands and say, well, it'll never happen? What I do when I come to those major turning points in my life is I will really process and pray about what is it in my heart that I'm really feeling called to do or to express or to be. And I will articulate that to the best of my ability. And then I say, thy will be done. And if you guys have ever used that phrase, you know it can be pretty scary. Because that says I'm willing to give up control. I'm willing to give up my attachment to outcome. Oh, and by the way, how I get from here to there. I'm willing to live in the mystery. I remind myself a lot lately, this is good. You're living in the mystery. Isn't that exciting? And then I'd have to remind myself about that the next day. No, this is good. You're living in the mystery. But I want, but I need, but this isn't it. Each of us has that potentiality of genius. It's about our perseverance. We're all seeking satisfaction in life. We're all seeking our good. I love that Emma Curtis Hopkins has said this because I have an authority greater than myself because I've often said this. It's nice to find somebody with this great wisdom and gravitas who has said it before me. God created you out of itself as an expression of the life, intelligence, beauty, and goodness that God is. So if God is everything we think God is, I don't think that Godness, divine mind, is sitting around going, well, I have all these expressions of self running around out there, but I'm going to pick on about a dozen that I really don't want to succeed. Let me pick a dozen, oh, maybe 50 to fail. I don't think so. If divine mind is seeking a full expression and seeking that full expression through us, then it's up to us to be open to that and to be willing to that, to be willing to listen and take the next step, even when it looks like you're stepping off into the abyss. We all know that famous scene from one of the Indiana Jones movies where he steps off and it looks like there is no bridge, and he steps off into the chasm and the bridge is there. I mean, we remember it, we see it, but that's living in the mystery, is to be willing to take the next step. We have the DNA of God. We have a living God with inexhaustible resources and divine ideas. God will never run out of resources or ideas. So therefore, you can never run out of resources or ideas. I remember when I was thinking about feeling compelled to apply for the ministry, and I didn't know how I was going to afford it. And I was sorting through papers. Well, if I'm going to move to Missouri, oh, if I'm going to leave Hawaii and move to Missouri. And I came across papers of my California Teachers Retirement Fund. And I went, oh, no. And I put it off to the side. And then it came a realization of, oh, that's how I'm going to pay for it. What in the blank am I thinking? But I followed that guidance. That's how I supported myself. It was the perfect decision. It was the perfect divine idea. And I'm financially fine. Divine mind knew that there are limitless resources for me. So don't settle. I put an affirmation in here for us to join together, and it is, the splendor and opulence of infinite mind are now being expressed in me and my affairs. Would you be willing to express that with me?
Yes.
The splendor of opulence of infinite mind are now being expressed in me and my affairs. Affirm that, and you will be guided. You will know the next step. You will have the resources. You will know what to do next. We think that when we come to the end of a dream or the door seems to be closed, like I didn't win, my partner and I didn't win, that's it, that's the end. Well, I don't think our soul has written those kind of chapters into our lives. If that chapter is closed, there must mean that we have another chapter yet to be written. But it's about that faith and strength to say, yes, show me, guide me, give me that idea. In the Old Testament, Abraham got this guidance to leave where he was. He was in Ur, and he was quite successful and quite wealthy. We probably don't think about that because we think, oh, he was just a shepherd. No, he was a very wealthy, prosperous shepherd. He had many flocks of animals and a wife and many children, or not children, excuse me, that was later. But his father had sons and children and flocks. And it was give up all of this abundance, give up where you are, your security, living next to a major metropolitan area with major wealth and major resources. Pick up everything you own and all of your people and move to the promised land. In other words, leave your career, leave your home, leave your situation, because there is a yearning in your heart for something bigger. And unless you give up where you are, you'll never get to where you're supposed to be. To go to ministerial school, I had to leave Honolulu, Hawaii. I was living, to me, the dream. I was living in a very small condo, but in Waikiki. And out my window is this beautiful view of the ocean. Off to my left, little pieces of Diamond Head. There were some buildings in the way, but I could see it. Incredible weather. It was wonderful. I was attending Unity Church of Hawaii, fabulous, fabulous church. And it's like, why am I going to leave this to go to, and excuse me if you were born there, Missouri? I kept saying, God, they have weather. And although I was born in Seattle, I was basically raised here in Southern California. But I went in faith, called on my spiritual strength, and it's been fine. Since then, I went back to Hawaii, went to Arizona, came here. It's all good. If we settle, we miss out on the next chapter. In the first place, we lose the battle is in our thinking. Donald Curtis, Unity minister, said, "The greatest discovery of the ages is that man can determine his own experience by controlling his thoughts." If you get into, I can't do it, then we know it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Better to say, I can do it, I'm living in the mystery, I don't know how, but it will. I trust, I have faith, and I have strength to stay in faith. J.K. Rowling. How many of you are Potterheads in here? Yay! I didn't read the books when they first came out. I mean, I heard about them, I knew about them. Some of my friends were reading them and talking about them a little bit, but I wasn't interested, didn't have time, too busy doing church. I thought, well, that's fine, but I'm not really interested. Well, since I've been retired from Unity Vista, I've had a lot of time to watch television, and I've basically binge watched the movies, and if you know, they've been on over and over and over again. And as a former theater major in college, I have really enjoyed watching how she developed the story, how she developed the characters. I've enjoyed all the special effects, and every time I watch it, I catch something that I didn't catch the last time. So I'm just unashamedly now a Harry Potter fan. So I don't know how much of her story that you know, but she lived rags to riches. She said that she was living on state benefits, she said, as close to homeless as you can be without actually being homeless. But while she was delayed, waiting for a train, the whole Harry Potter story downloaded for her, the whole thing, all, 8 books. She took it to 12 publishers. Each one said no. So she didn't just have one rejection, she had 12 rejections. That's about your spiritual strength and your faith. I have this idea. I believe it's good. I believe it's worthy. I believe it's mine to do. She persevered. And by the way, this set of books is the best-selling book series in history. She was sitting there with, how am I going to feed my family? What am I going to do? And it downloaded. And she was willing. She didn't get discouraged, and she didn't settle. Eric Butterworth said, faith is really your consent to let your own uniqueness unfold and to let that which is attracted by your uniqueness manifest in your life. In other words, we're attracting this stuff to us by right of consciousness. A university professor was ready to give the final test of the year to his class, the most important test. Their grade was going to depend on this. Before he gave them the test, he told them how proud he was of them because they'd worked so hard. He made each of them an offer. Anyone who wanted an automatic C on the test, just raise your hand, I'll give you a C, and you don't have to take the test. Oh. About half the students opted out. They walked out happy. Then he passed out the test to the rest of the class, and he turned it face down and he said, do not turn this over. For the next few minutes, he gave them encouragement, saying they would do great things in life. Then they were told they could turn the test over. The paper had only 2 sentences. Congratulations, you've just made an A. If you say you never will, that's a C. If you'll say you'll never get out of debt, that's a C. Settling is easier. You don't have to stretch, you don't have to take risks, you don't have to move out of your comfort zone into that mystery. If you're not seeing things yet that you desire, keep moving. Keep moving. Enlarge your vision of God and of yourself. Be willing to accept the good that is yours. Some of you know, well, probably all of you know, because you discussed it, that there was a point at which I indicated an interest in the position that you had open. When I left Unity Way Church in Vista, I really wasn't ready to leave, or really ready. I didn't think I was finished with ministry, but I had some health issues going on that we really didn't quite know what was happening. So I quit. I hated to say retired because I felt like, I don't know that I really retired. So I spent 2 years working with a lot of doctors, and we really thought we got stuff solved. And I thought, oh good, at one point my doctor said, once you do this, you're gonna have so much energy. And I said, well, if I'm gonna have so much energy, I wanna go back to ministry. I don't want to sit home binge watching Harry Potter for the rest of my life. I mean, it's nice, but that's not what my heart desires. So I prayed a lot, I processed a lot, and I was like, God, this is what's still in my heart. This is what I still want to do. And so I threw my hat into the ring. And you're a great bunch of people. And I could see great possibilities. But some things weren't getting resolved for me the way I thought they would. And then I finally had one more surgery, and it was elective. They would consider minor, although I was fully anesthetized, and before they let you do that, you sign a form that said, I will make no legal decisions, sign no legal papers for 24 hours after surgery. Now, meanwhile, back when I wasn't feeling well, I had contacted a place for Mom, and I said, I've got to move back to Seattle at some point, and I want to look at retirement communities, homes within 20 minutes of my cousin, because that's where family is, and I want to be near family. And they sent me some places, most of which didn't interest me. One kind of did, and I thought, well, that's probably the place I'll go eventually. I've been saying eventually I'll move to Seattle. Eventually. And I had talked to a realtor in my community. She lives there. She's on the board there. Just to explore what's going on, what would that look like if I put my house on the market, but I hadn't. And she knew that I might not for years. We were in that kind of limbo. So imagine my surprise when I checked my phone after the surgery that day, that afternoon. I look at it, and I thought something I can't say here. Oh. There was a message from the community in Seattle that I was interested in. And she said, we have an apartment available for you. And I'm like stunned. I didn't even know what to do. So I didn't do anything except acknowledge her message. And I still hadn't said anything to anybody. Now remember, God hears the desire of my heart. Thy will be done. And if I'm going to get up and preach it, I better be willing to live it. So my realtor calls me to see how I am, and oh, by the way, another realtor had called her. She had clients who wanted a home in our community, and it pretty much the description she gave was my house. And she said, I think we have a potential buyer for you. Oh. So the realtor comes and looks at the house, says, this is what my people want. She brings her people. It wasn't even listed. My realtor and I go outside and sit by our park, and we're filling out the listing papers. That night, they present her with a full price offer. Oh, that's right, I kept saying, thy will be done. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. So, my moving date is December 3rd. And so once again, I come to a point in my life, it's bittersweet. Saying goodbye to some really wonderful people here and some really dear friends, and passing up the opportunity that apparently is not mine. Apparently, it's Robin's. And I am delighted because she's going to get to work with a wonderful group of people in a wonderful ministry, and you guys are going to join together creating new opportunities, new dreams, new visions. And you're going to get to love her, and she's going to get to love you. But I remind myself, thy will be done. And I don't know what is next in my next chapter, and I'm okay with living in the mystery.
They'll volunteer you to be the minister at the home you're staying, at the apartment you're staying.
Yeah.
You started a whole new ministry.
Yeah. Well, that community is 1 mile from Unity Church of Seattle. No, I really like that minister. She's been there a long time. So I'm looking forward to actually going and being part of a spiritual community and making new Unity friends in a new context, and then to say to Reverend Karen, no, I'm not here for a job. Apparently, that's not the plan. However, if there's some way that I can support you, I would be glad to. So I'm moving on to something that, again, I don't know what it is, but I'm willing to take that step for those who love God, all things to be resolved, all things taken care of. So I want to just thank you and appreciate you for the time we've had together. Thank you for loving me and welcoming me and supporting me and letting me be here and letting me go through my process as you guys went through your process. You know, it sort of works that way. So I want to thank the board and thank Jack. Thank you. I'm so glad we're back together one more time. I really, yeah, I was thinking, well, if I did take this job, I want you as music director. Come back. But apparently that's not the plan.
God's will be done.
So thank you all so much. I wish you all the best. I know that there are great things ahead for all of you and for this ministry. You've had a lot of loving ministers, and I know that Robin will be the next perfect minister for you, and I wish you all the best. God bless.
Thank you very much. Maybe when she gets up to Seattle, she'll
Wonderful
be able
talk.
to
Thank you
substitute
so
for
much.
Fraser on some of his.
What?
Be able to substitute for Fraser.
Around.